Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here on the show, and I want to do a preview, Kentucky football season preview. Boy, I'm so excited for this season, guys. Motivated Mark Stoops gonna lead us to maybe 3 or 4 wins this year. We have a kind of a tough schedule, because SEC. And I'll do the college football season preview at some point, whenever I do it. Season starts the 23rd, so I'll do it before the 23rd, I just don't want to win. But yeah, let's get into this one. It'll be my last video for the night. Just 3 videos today. Probably be more active during the weekend. But yeah, man, pressure's increasing, for the head coach. Mark Stoops, after Kentucky's 8-season bowl streak with a 4-8 record in 2024, came to an end. It's just really uncompetitive last year, I thought. The offensive line was horrible. I didn't think Vandergriff was that good, but for fuck's sake, the offensive line really didn't give them a chance. Thought the team would be better than they were. But yeah, but given the difficulty of the 2025 schedule we have, reaching bowl eligibility might be the ceiling. They play 3 FCS teams who they'll probably all beat by like 20 or 30, maybe more. But it's unlikely that 6 wins will be enough to quiet fans about the direction of the program. Like, am I gonna be happy? Would I be glad if they make a bowl game? Yeah, with this difficult ass schedule. But it's not gonna be. I'm not gonna be like thrilled with it. Like, it is difficult to imagine Kentucky firing, I guess, its all-time winningest coach, even though they beat the bottom feeders of the SEC. And with a buyout of more than $40 million owed, but another losing record would lead to plenty of cause for change, and rightfully so. Look, his time was good where it started here, but it's just got worse and worse as time has went on. At least to me. But who knows, maybe I'll be proved wrong this season. So, I want to preview the offense. So, even the most dedicated Kentucky fans might need a roster to identify all the new players who take the field for the offense in the season opener. So, guard Jalen Farmer and tight end Josh Caddis are the only returning starters likely to retain their jobs. Transfers, they got quarterback, running back, left tackle, right guard, center, right tackle, and 2 wide receiver spots. So they got a lot in the portal. Specifically the offensive line, which hopefully they're good this year, because last year they were terrible. And I feel like they got good offensive linemen out of the transfer portal. Just gotta hope they're good. So the newcomers are led by the remember Zach Calzada in Texas A&M when they beat #1 Alabama? Yeah, he's still in college football. So former Texas A&M, Auburn, and then an FCS Incarnate Wood quarterback, Zach Calzada. He'll actually turn 25 in November during his 7th season of college football. So he brings a strong arm and the ability to make some plays with his legs. But he's still working on his timing to connect with a new group of receivers during spring practice. I just hope he's good. I mean, I'm not going to take too much into FCS stats, because SEC defenses are better than FCS. But for Kentucky to improve a unit that ranked 114th nationally in total offense last season, 330.4 yards per game, it'll need their transfer additions on the offensive line to hit. The left tackle, Shiaz Pete, I think it's how you say his name. He's one of the most high-profile Native American athletes in the country. He could possibly break out star in this offensive line. Dude's tall as fuck. So, hopefully he's a breakout star for the offensive line. They got a few others. I think they also got some receivers. Kendrick Law, J.J. Hester in the portal. I think they got some other dude from where it was. Like, I forgot. I think it was some dude named Edwards or something like that. But I want to talk about the defense now. So their first team defense will also look drastically different than last year. But they're at least experienced players in the system to plug some of the holes. Obviously, an injury to NFL draft first rounder Maxwell Harrison last season gave some of their younger cornerbacks more game experience than expected. Now the hope is that DJ Waller Jr. and others can use that experience to take a step forward. They'll rely on athleticism and inside linebacker, and hope that a host of young defensive linemen are ready to earn spots in the rotation. There are important transfers to watch, though. They got a lineman, David Gusta at Washington State, and McQueese Humphrey Grace FCS at FCS South Dakota, ranked as the top 2 transfers in their class. And that FCS South Dakota dude was really good, so hopefully it translates to the SEC. And the edge rushers Cam Olds out of Kansas State and Sam Green USC can hopefully improve the pass rush that tied for 64th nationally in sacks per game. They really didn't get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and even when they did, they missed half the time. And really, their specialists, their special teams, leg strength should be a plus at both kicker and punter, but consistency will be key. They have a redshirt freshman kicker, Jacob Cowie. He has big shoes to fill after the departure of Alex Rayner and Jamori Macklin and Kendrick Law to handle return duties, whether it's kickoffs, punt returns. So we'll see about that. But yeah, that's really the preview, or at least some of it here. But I want to list some keys to the season. I think their season starts the 28th or 30th, I believe. What days their Kentucky season start? August 30th against Toledo, so that'll probably be an easy win. But I want to have some keys to the season. The passing attack has to be better. So Zach Calzada's up. We just simply couldn't get the downfield plays going. We would get one every once in a while, but it just wasn't consistent. We couldn't hit third down plays. Just getting first downs was a struggle, and it's all because the passing attack wasn't accurate enough. This wasn't hard. They were 4-0 when it hit 64% of its passes or more, and 0-8 when it didn't. When they were actually completing passes, the offense was fine, but when they weren't and the offensive line was bad, it got bad. But to me, their key player, I think it's going to be McQueese Grace. They need big seasons from several important spots they got. The new offensive tackles have to be great. But getting a big year out of the pass rush would solve plenty of problems defensively. Grace was one of the best players in the FCS last year, with 9.5 sacks and 18 tackles for loss coming off the edge. Their top transfer, I would say their top transfer was 2 of them are Alex Walschlager and Shiaz Pete. You might not have heard of these two, but Walschlager was one of the MAC's best blockers in an all-MAC season, and Pete was a Conference USA All-Star and top blocker for the Aggies. So these two definitely upgraded the line. I mean, Barian Brown is kind of the top transfer out, which if he has a good season for LSU, so be it. Definitely sucks to not have him, that speed. I just feel like he really didn't do much besides a play here or there. I would say their key game, I'd say Ole Miss, September 6th against Ole Miss. I would say either that or I think they play either Ole Miss, Georgia, or Texas. Or that South Carolina game. South Carolina could be ranked fairly decent. Probably near top 15, top 10, top 15. But if I were to list those games I would say Ole Miss, Georgia, and Texas. And then maybe South Carolina as well, the 4 games I would do. But if you want me to choose one, I guess Ole Miss, because they stunned Ole Miss with a 20-17 win in Oxford last year that ultimately kept them really out of the college football playoffs. It'd been years, 2011, since they'd won in the series against them. And it turned out that it was last year. And as it turned out, that was it last year. It was the last win over an FBS team all season. This time it's in Lexington in the SEC opener. And then after the SEC play, you get Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas. Tough teams. But if I want to I'm going to list some players. My top 10 for this season. I'm going to say McQueese Humphrey Grace, that edge rusher that came over from FCS. Alex Afari, linebacker. Jordan Lovett at safety. Another name I didn't mention was running back Dante Dowdle. He's kind of like that power back. I think Jamarian Wilcox will be the main running back, but I think Dante Dowdle will be like that power back, like that. Like you need to get a yard, that's who you're putting out there. So he was solid for Nebraska. Not saying he was great, but I thought he was solid. Zach Calzada, Shiaz Pete, Alex Wolschlager, David Gustav. Like I said, they got Kendrick Law. I would say number 10, Joshua Braun, an offensive guard, which they got. But some stats from 2024, they fumbled a lot. Their opponents had 19 fumbles and lost 6, so they forced fumbles. They just struggled to get the ball. They lost 6, and Kentucky fumbled 25 times and lost 6, so they fumbled the ball a lot. Second quarter points allowed 84, first quarter points allowed 38 in total. Fourth down conversions, Kentucky 11-25. Their opponents were 6 for 9, so they gave up. Well, I mean, opponents didn't really have to go for it a lot on fourth down because we were getting beat a lot. I feel like maybe everything will go back to normal. You know, if I have to give a season prediction, I think everything will go back to normal. This won't be the 10-win team of 2021, you know. But this year's version will get back to its winning ways. But when it beats a team or two, maybe a team or two, it probably shouldn't. Lose a close game or two, it probably shouldn't, and it'll get back to a ball game after a year off. It'll be an interesting team because there should be more offensive firepower with an attack that can take a few more chances, and it'll have to because you look at the schedule, they're going to have to take chances in some of these games. There are 4 built-in wins on the state, making the assumption we can actually beat like Vanderbilt, for example, or Auburn. Almost all the toughest games are at home, and at least for now, I feel like last year was kind of just a weird year. I feel like the likely wins are like Eastern Michigan, Tennessee Tech, Toledo, 50-50 games, kind of Auburn, Florida, Louisville, South Carolina, maybe Tennessee, Vandy. Some of they're like 50-50 games. Florida, I mean, they're probably going to be pretty good this year, so I don't even know if that's 50-50. I'm just trying to be optimistic, but I don't really think I can. Tennessee, I don't know. But honestly, the other games I can definitely see winnable, like Auburn, Louisville, Vandy, Ole Miss. I think they can beat Ole Miss. I mean, they beat them last year with a trash-ass team. I think this year's team is at least better than they were last year. I felt they have more offensive weapons to actually do shit. And at least make a bowl game. If they don't make a bowl game, Mark Stoops is going to get fired. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But yeah, let's go over the schedule. You know what? Fuck it. I'll give you a schedule prediction. So week 1 against Toledo, think they win. It's 1-0. Against Ole Miss, I'll say a win. I think we're gonna beat Ole Miss again. I don't really think Ole Miss is that good this year. Their quarterback, I think it's Austin Simmons or something. So I'll say 2-0. Eastern Michigan, another win, 3-0. But I think they lose to South Carolina on the road. South Carolina will definitely be a top 15, 20 team. You know, with Lenora Sailors. Georgia, that's a loss. Texas, that's a loss. Against Tennessee, say that's a win. Auburn, say it's a win. Florida, say it's a loss. Tennessee Tech, that's a win. Vandy, say it's on the road. You know what? I'll say they beat Vandy, and then we play Louisville. I think they'll beat Louisville. Actually, no, I think they'll lose to Tennessee. Never mind. I'll say they'll lose to Tennessee. So, I think they'll go 7-5. I think they'll beat Louisville, Vandy, Tennessee Tech, Auburn, Eastern Michigan, Ole Miss, and Toledo. And I'll have them losing to South Carolina, Georgia, Texas. Outside, I'll have them losing to Tennessee, even though I'd hate that, but I'll say they'll lose that, and they'll lose to Florida. So I think they'll go 7-5. They might lose a game if they shouldn't lose. Like, they'll probably lose to, either randomly they'll lose to, Auburn or Vanderbilt when ultimately they should beat those teams, but who knows? I'm just gonna say 7-5. So yeah, that's all to say. Leave a like, subscribe for more. Until next time, I'm out. Peace and have a good night.